Adam wiped the sweat from his brow with the sleeve of his denim jacket. The still, SoCal summer air was sweltering, and the heat seeped into his flesh. Adam paused for a second, leaning against his battered Buick, scraping his calloused hands on the chipped brown enamel as he stared at the old house. The house had been Linda's idea. Adam had always wanted a log cabin by the woods, but Linda had insisted on a house in the suburbs. A great place to raise the kids, she'd said. She'd even found a local Christian school so it would gear the children towards being upstanding members of society. Adam sighed. It hadn't been her fault. No one had known about the asbestos. The house ended up having to be foreclosed, and the bank refused to hear word about it. Adam turned and got 2 cans of paint stripper out of the passenger seat. Adam sighed again and tread over the dry brown grass of the porch, where he sat on the rusted porch swing. The oak wood had gone grey as the rainwater had washed the varnish away, and the slats splintered under his weight. Adam reached into the pocket of his denim jacket and pulled out a pack of cigarettes. The department called them kill sticks, and he'd done his best to hide this vice from his colleagues. Cigarettes are not only a leading cause of cancer, but also fires. A surefire way to kill yourself, the department head had joked. Adam had nodded along. Adam lit a cigarette and, getting up, took a key out of his pocket and unlocked the door. It's almost unbelievable what financial stress will do to a marriage. Adam stepped into the living room. The hardwood floor had long swelled from the rain that seeped through the cracks in the slate roof, and Adam navigated places where the flooring had given out to rot. He placed the paint stripper by a pile of junk in the center of the living room. It started with Linda having to get a second job. She'd gotten one, so he had to get one. Never mind that he worked for government service and had to be available for most of the week. So he gets a night shift flipping burgers with kids half his age. He'd swallowed his pride. Then it's the kids schooling getting more expensive to deal with budget cuts, so they have to go to public school. Then one of them breaks their arm in a fight, and suddenly you're looking at thousands in unpaid medical bills. Adam took a long drag on a cigarette. Suddenly you're taking out loans just to survive. Suddenly you're not as good as a father as everyone thought you were. Suddenly, every time your wife looks at you, you can hear the accusation in her eyes. The accusation that you aren't doing enough. The cigarette smoldered and the heat began burning away at Adam's fingers as the cigarette burnt out. He dropped it onto the floor and the embers slowly turned black. He lit another one. Soon the silent stares become words, just comments here and there, a few words of frustration, some comments that were taken back almost immediately, but the eyes still stared. Adam breathed the smoke out into the asbestos-filled room. Veins of asbestos ran through the fabric of this house, buried deep in every wall, just out of sight. Adam took a long drag. The words became physical after a time. Adam bent down and picked up a broken gravy boat from the pile of junk at his feet. Linda had picked it out herself from the registry. Her mother had bought it for them. "We'd been happy once, hadn't we?" he muttered. He obtained no response. A glint caught his eye, and he reached down and picked up a picture frame. The glass had cracked, but the old photograph still stuck to the frame. "We were smiling," Adam said. It was a picture from their wedding. Linda's long blonde hair was done in braids that were woven into her veil. She was smiling as Adam stood behind her, his eyes sparkling. "You're as beautiful as on our wedding day," Adam whispered. Adam tossed the porcelain and the picture frame onto the ground. He picked up the cans of paint stripper. It had been Rachel's idea. When Josh had left her, she said the only thing she could do was burn everything that reminded her of him. Fire cleanses, fire illuminates, she'd said. She'd said that as the fire had burnt, she realized she had never really loved Josh. It had taken a few days, but Adam had collected everything. It was fitting, he thought, to burn everything in his home, where it had all gone wrong. Adam opened the cans of paint stripper and began pouring them out. A bucket of gasoline is suspicious. It raises questions, but you can buy as much paint stripper as you'd like. Adam recoiled as the acrid smell hit his nostrils. He pulled out a pack of matches and stared intensely at them. I wish we could have been happy. I wish we could have made it work. Adam opened the box and, pulling a match out, struck it. The sulfur hit Adam's nostrils as the heat swept across his already sweating brow. He looked up at the pile of trash, from the registry gifts to the photo albums to the children's abandoned toys, into the eyes of the gagged woman bound to a chair atop it all. The eyes that pleaded, that finally no longer accused. "I love you," Adam whispered as he dropped the match. Fire cleanses, fire illuminates. The flames peeled back the pale drywall, and after a while, all that was left were the varicose asbestos veins.